My name is Jared Prowitz. I am the CEO and co-founder of Happy Kamper. Basically, what we've built is a two-sided marketplace for parents looking for activities for their children, anything from playgrounds, language courses, coding classes, art, music, dance, really anything that you're looking for your child outside of school hours. So trying to book these activities currently it's a very arduous process in terms of having to WhatsApp back and forth with the providers, understand what their offerings are, when they're open, how much it costs, etc. We offer an easy way to search, sort, filter, find an activity, and book within a couple of clicks directly through the app. So I am a U.S. citizen. I have a background in kind of fintech product management. But have started this company in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we're looking to kind of scale it across Southeast Asia and across the world someday. So I've been working with Groovy Web for, at this point, about 7 months in kind of building this app out and getting it launched. We just launched about a month ago, and I have nothing but good things to say about the experience. So it's always been my dream to start my own company. I spent, prior to this, I spent 8 years at a company going from kind of startup bootstrap world to IPO and played a big role in that. And it really kind of inspired me that I wanted to start my own company someday. So after taking a sabbatical and traveling around the world, I was brainstorming about what industry to start a company in. And I really focused on kind of, I think, 3 areas where I feel like people are willing to over-index, like the budget doesn't matter because it's that important. And it's their kids, their pets, and weddings. And trying to figure out ways to introduce technology into one of those things in a way to make it easier, really, at the end of the day. So when I came to Indonesia, I saw that there's an abundance of activities for children here. In doing some more research, realized that, again, like these providers don't have a web presence outside of an Instagram page. Surveyed a bunch of moms in the Jakarta area, asking them how they find activities for their kids. They all use TikTok or Instagram. So it just seemed like a great opportunity to basically create an application that'll make their lives easier. So I found Groovy on Clutch, just going through and kind of doing a search through some of the highest rated kind of mobile development companies that were kind of within my price point. So that's how I originally found your contact information. I think initially I talked to like 5 of the companies that were on that list. Really kind of what sealed the deal for me with Groovy was a couple different things. I really liked how your detailed approach in terms of kind of taking the high level requirements and designs that I had put together and helping me understand kind of line by line as to kind of what are the high level estimates for what that's going to take, what's the cost associated. You provided me with a spreadsheet where I could very easily go through and say, okay, we don't need these features. We would like to add these things. And so I kind of had an idea of kind of what was that price breakdown. And I'm a very detail-oriented guy. I've worked in software my whole career, and so I like to see that kind of overall thought process. I felt like there was a lot more kind of thought put into this than a lot of the other companies I talked to who were kind of like, yeah, we can do it. It'll take roughly 3 to 4 months, but no actual data to back any of that up. So that was a big kind of driver for me going with Groovy. Also just having some initial calls with Kunal. He's very, very knowledgeable in the space. He's worked with lots of different startups. He threw out just interesting ideas right out of the gate and has been kind of very responsive as I have questions or need anything, want to hop on a quick call with him to discuss. He makes himself available for that, which is something I really appreciate as well. But yeah, I think overall, the sales process was very smooth. It was well communicated. And then you guys have been kind of checking in on a monthly basis as we've gone through the project. And if I have any concerns or anything that I bring up, you're quick to respond, which is great. That process went very smoothly as well. I mean, we had like a 2-week sprint zero, where they gave me kind of a list of like the different accounts and things that needed to be set up. I provided them with kind of our high-level requirements, the designs and all of that. They went through them with a fine-tooth comb in terms of kind of calling out different things, questions, clarifications, those types of things that we then took back to my designer to kind of revamp or rethink. And then we pretty much got right into it. So got into development within a couple weeks. Started building out kind of some of the base flows, and some of the initial login screens and things. The interaction with the team has been great. We communicate every day over Slack. They give me every 2 weeks, they would give me a demo, kind of talk through where things stood, what had been accomplished, what was still outstanding. They would provide me with a copy of the app, the APK, to go through and do some detailed testing, provide them with additional feedback, resolve those bugs, and we just kept on moving forward. So the team was very flexible in that regard. I will be the first to admit that, while we set out to build an MVP, it grew quite a bit from what the initial scope was, just because, as we started to get into it and thinking about monetization of the app, having conversations with actual providers and things that they wanted and things, the scope grew. But the team was very, very flexible with that. We also kind of grew outside of our initial budget. There was a buffer that was built in, just planning for this. We grew outside of that too, but they did a very nice job in terms of taking in the new requirements, coming up with new estimates, kind of being very transparent about how much work this is going to be, how long it's going to take, what it's going to cost, getting that agreement up front, and then taking it and running with it in terms of actually getting those changes built out into the app. So yeah, everything was great. I think there's always the initial, if you want to use the agile terms, forming, storming, norming, performing. So we certainly had some of that, where we had to kind of get on the same page in terms of how we were operating. But overall, I think from a project management perspective, it was great. Rahul has been awesome in terms of just keeping the lines of communication open, reaching out when the team has questions, if they're blocked by something, anything along those lines, and also taking my feedback. Yeah. So like I said, the application grew a lot as kind of we proceeded. And so it did take us some time to get them kind of educated on all the pieces that were involved, and how the system worked. Overall, I think they did a great job in terms of making sure that the application was tested and ready to go. We're still doing ongoing work on the performance testing front. So we're still trying to optimize the application for scale. And that is ongoing as of today, and for the next few weeks. We don't have the scale yet, but we are planning to build that scale over the coming months. And so that has been great too. I know you guys went out and found a very qualified performance tester to really try and put some strain on our application, and see kind of where things start to break down. So yeah, we're running tests right now, looking at 100 concurrent users hitting the system, looking to scale it up to 1,000 concurrent users hitting the system at the same time, and continue to grow it from there. So that has been great too. That gives me a lot of confidence as we do continue to expand our marketing efforts and really grow our user base, that we're not going to have any issues. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, our original plan was shorter, but because of the things that we ended up having to add, which we needed to add, yes, I think absolutely. We hit the goals, got it launched before all the kids got out on summer break, which was our primary goal. Yeah. So I would say we are still kind of very much spreading awareness about the app. But overall, the feedback that we've gotten from the users who've gotten in, the parents are very excited. They've remarked that this is the first app of this kind ever in Indonesia. The providers are excited for the same reason. They haven't had this kind of a platform where they can really kind of showcase their services. And it's very seamless in terms of signing up, setting up your account, and really posting all of your activities or booking activities. So yeah, the response has been very, very positive. Yeah. So right now, we launched just initially in Jabodetabek, so the Jakarta metro area, and Bandung, which doesn't see as high a volume of the international travelers. That's more kind of the Bali area. So right now we're marketing mainly to locals, and it's not just people on holiday. It could just be people looking for things like outside of school for their kids, but primarily through social media channels. So Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We've done a few in-person events as well with some of our providers. Some of our providers are offering pretty big discounts. They've let us kind of set up booths just to talk to parents about the application. We're also running some programmatic ads on Google, as well as some email marketing campaigns as well, and SEO. So we're kind of hitting it from all angles at this point, trying to collect data, trying to understand what works, what doesn't, and we'll continue to kind of evolve and iterate from there. Yeah. So for right now, I mean, the primary focus is just scaling up the user base. So a lot of my focus has shifted more to the marketing, the customer acquisition side for the moment. We have put together kind of a list of kind of what comes next in our next release, based on user feedback, provider feedback, and just kind of overall monetization plans that we have to bring in some additional revenue streams, like specifically kind of an ads channel for our providers that we want to bring in, better messaging, some other pieces there. But for right now, we're really focused on let's grow the number of providers, let's grow the number of customers. So kind of both sides of the marketplace, which is always kind of a chicken and egg thing, but we're working through it one step at a time. And then we're looking to expand. So we're looking to very quickly expand to the other kind of major metro areas of Indonesia. It's a huge population base overall. Jakarta alone is 30 million people. And then as you look at kind of all the other major cities on the island of Java, Bali, Singapore is also probably is going to be a quick expansion as well. The application was built in such a way that it's really just swapping out the language JSON file in order for us to look to expand internationally, as well as like currency and time zone conversions and things like that. But yeah, we want to look to kind of really start to expand quickly, and then start going after other kind of major metro areas across Southeast Asia, India, the US. We'll need to raise some funding, but yeah, ultimately we want to grow this thing. There's a few small applications in different countries around the world that focus on these kind of kids activities, but there's not a major player in this space. Which one of the things, like as I've been going through this whole journey that I've struggled with is like, why doesn't this already exist? So the plan is in probably the next couple months, I really wanted to just bootstrap it myself right out of the gate. I wanted to prove the potential before approaching any investors. But the plan is in the next couple months to raise a round of friends and family funding. This should really get us through the next 12 to 18 months. And then we'll probably go out and start looking at like VC money. That's the main reason Singapore, expanding Singapore quickly, is very appealing. Most of the VC money in Southeast Asia originates in Singapore. That's where all the big funds are. So we'd like to expand to Singapore relatively quickly, start to get exposure there, and get the attention of some of the VCs in Singapore, so that we can secure a larger funding round and really start to grow this thing. Yeah, I mean, I think I said most of it, but in summary, I would say that this has been a world-class experience working with the Groovy Web team. I think from every step, from kind of the origination in our first conversation all the way through to launch, everyone that I've worked with has been very communicative. The line is always open in terms of what's going on. From the CEO level down, Krunal has joined random calls with the team and provided feedback or advice. The team is very, very responsive and available and very flexible. Things don't always go exactly the way that you plan. And so they've been able to make adjustments and changes as needed in order to ensure that we could kind of stay on track and keep things moving forward. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the application that we've built. I think it looks great. It does exactly what we need right now. There's certainly lots of other things that we're looking to incorporate moving forward in the future. But overall, yes, this has been a great experience. Highly recommended for someone looking to kind of get their first mobile app out there, start a new company, etc. It's been a great process.